lot of our viewers were concerned as I had a conversation with Angela Mbitho about it, and we kept seeing those margins grow and grow and grow. And the question is this spoiled vote going to be a challenge going forward? Please allow me to introduce to you research specialist Mr. Tom Wolf. Thank you so much for joining us. Just generally your opinion on how this has played out and the amount of time really that it has taken the IEBC to come out and say, you know what, this is something that we're going to have to factor in our complete tally, and that this is something presidential candidates should expect to begin to reflect as far as that percentage margin between the two is concerned. Taken too long, do you think?
Well, it's difficult for me to say. I mean, have an opinion, really. I usually look for other people's opinions on things. And as you may recall, in our last survey, done just a little over 2 weeks ago, we found among various public institutions and office holders an exceedingly high level of trust in the IEBC. I think it was 89% across the country. And even when we factored that through the lens of the supporters of the two main candidates, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, we really didn't see any statistical difference. I mean, across the board, there was confidence, that high a level. And I think that was partly because in the period leading up to the election, and indeed up to this moment, neither side has raised concerns in a way which would cause their followers to have their faith or trust shaken in any way. And of course, given what happened 5 years ago, I'm sure everyone would hope that no such shaking actually takes place. But it does seem a little bit surprising to me, as somebody who's not in any way an expert in election administration, that moving to such a complex and demanding election procedure with 6 different ballots to fill and a very high turnout expected and so on, that there wasn't more forethought into what could be done to try and minimize this question of rejected ballots. Well, for example, of giving out each ballot at a time when the voter is right in front of that box, rather than what I understand, I'm not a Kenyan, so I didn't vote yesterday, although I went around to some polling stations, each person in entering the polling place to be given all 6, which is a little bit confusing, and then you have 6 different sandukus in front of you. So I guess some outside experts or observers might have been able to predict that there would be some problem, but the projection I heard, if we have 10.1, 10.3 million votes, that these rejected ballots could constitute 500,000.
Significant enough really to force a runoff or a repeat of the poll? I know I've already heard people wondering what the margin would be. How much of a spoilt vote would there have to be in this election that somebody would say, you know what, this vote is incredible?
Well, I mean, you raise 2 issues there. One is, of all these spoiled votes or rejected ballots, they all occurred in certain polling stations in certain parts of the country, where it would be known by an analysis of all the votes that were cast in those places that are valid, roughly, according to statistics, where those votes should be placed. Not exactly, but if you're in Nyeri, for example, and you see 100 spoiled votes, and you know that Uhuru Kenyatta got 99% of the vote, you can probably be pretty sure that somewhere between 95 and 100 of those spoiled ballots would have gone to him. On the other side, if you're in Siaya and you see that the vote total is 98 or 99% for Raila Odinga, you have 100 spoiled, rejected ballots, you could be pretty sure that the bulk of those would go that way. Now, I don't think there's any law, and maybe something will be developed, so that it could be agreed that all of these rejected ballots would just be apportioned according to what the general average in that area is. My guess is
we'll come back and discuss this and see whether there's been a precedent at all on this. Linda, so certainly there are a lot of question marks around this issue. We just have to wait and see, I suppose, as to how it will play out as we await the IEBC to actually begin adjusting that margin as far as the presidential tally in this, of course, results that are still provisional is concerned. But I hand it over to you now for more.